Yeah, good. Not my bottle. Got one here. Good morning, team. Welcome to today's session. Just talking about this week's spinning session. And I don't think I've taken spinning for a long time live in the studio, and I took it this week. Kerry's away. So I took her spinning session on Monday or Tuesday, and it was tough. So I'm very much hoping this one's not going to be as tough. And looking at it, it could go either way. It's some extended intervals, so it'll probably depend on how we're feeling. But it's a beautiful day in the Alps, so great way to start the day with a ride. So let's get into it. Just going to give it about 30 seconds, and I'm going to start the clock. And we're away. In the week, I'm not sure if you can call it the week the Tour de France comes to Morzine, because I'm starting that clock now, team. We are 45 minutes. I'll let you know when to start your clock if you're starting it for the session. If you're working to a program, we're away now, so that's 45 minutes to go. Riding easy at a 6 out of 10 for the first 5 minutes. Get yourself in a good position on the bike, so check those feet. Make sure your feet are running in a nice straight line. Then check your knees. Make sure they're the same. So you want your center of your knee running over that second toe. And then from there, it's all about switching on that core. I talked about it last week. Not flexing your abdominals, but being as long through the spine and as neutral through the spine as you can. And then try not to lean too hard or hold or hang on too hard to the handlebars. And then from there, it's just all about being consistent with that as we change our effort. Trying, again, not to hang on too much. And it does make a big difference focusing on your position. So for me, I know I talk about it all the time. When it gets really hard on the bike, first thing you want to do is check your position. Am I sitting on the seat properly, on that good position on the seat? And is my technique good? Have I got alignment through my legs? Am I switched on through the core? Relaxed through the shoulders? And that will make all the difference. A few days ago, I did a bike fit for someone who I'd done a bike fit for them in the past, and they had lent their bike to someone else, and they changed the position, and they wanted to get it back because they said they felt better once they'd had that bike fit. And to be honest, I had a look and it looked great. They'd guessed it back the way it was, and I made a very few changes, but one of the big changes I made was to get them to actually sit properly on the bike. And as soon as they did that, they thought, oh, actually, no, this does feel okay. So just sitting on the bike like you're about to pose for a photograph is a good way just to reset everything. And things like your lower back and upper back and shoulders, they're going to fatigue over time anyway. So if you're doing a long ride, it comes down to your conditioning in the end. But if you can maintain that good position on the bike for as long as you can, then those things are going to fatigue a little bit slower. But if you're doing a 4, 5, 6 hour ride and all you're doing is riding your bike, then chances are you're going to get a little bit sore through the shoulders, sore through the lower back. So it's just going to be the way it is. So most of the Tour de France guys, and it's been the week of the Tour de France, as I was saying, I'm not sure whether we call it the week of the Tour de France in Morzine. They arrive on Sunday, and they're here for Monday for a rest day, and then Tuesday for a start. So it's kind of the week of the Tour. It feels like it, but depends what day you call the first day of the week. For me, first day of the week is Monday, so for some people it's Sunday. So yeah, anyway, they're going to be here this weekend, and it's going to be crazy busy in Morzine. It's going to be cool. I'm not sure if you guys have had time to watch the tour, but yesterday was a really cool stage. Had an Aussie win. Simon Clark took the win. But there's some, as always, there's some classic stuff goes on in the tour. I thought the funniest bit, well, not funny, because you've got to feel bad for the guy, but the guy who won the bunch sprint to come second and thought he'd won, did a little bit of celebrating before he realised that someone else had already finished like a minute or two earlier. That's got to be embarrassing, but you do wonder how that can happen. Something like the Tour de France, you would assume that everyone knows that there's a rider up the road, but nevertheless, it seems to happen all the time, I guess, in the heat of the moment. All right, we've almost got 5 minutes done. I think I've managed to talk for the whole 5 minutes, so don't expect that to continue. We're now going to go to moderate. So we've been working pretty easy, just warming up those ankle, knee joints, hip joints. And now we're going to add a little bit of resistance. Keep that cadence exactly where it is. Let's do that now. And we're going to spend 5 minutes here. During this 5 minutes, I'm going to explain our main set. And you'll be happy to hear, I'm happy to hear, the maximum we're going to go today is an 8 out of 10, which is threshold. So we should never be at a point where we just can't speak, struggling to catch our breath. Definitely we should be right on that limit, but never over that limit. And that limit is called your anaerobic threshold. And that's when you push so hard that your body starts producing so much lactic acid that you can't keep on going. You have to slow down. So we want to be consistent in that effort at 8 out of 10 and be able to make the 2 minutes without our body forcing us to slow right down. If we get forced to slow right down, it means we've got to go a little bit easier the next one. But normally that's not going to be an issue. It's going to be a little bit of mind over matter because we're just working for 2 minutes. So the main set, we've got 2 minutes comfortable, 2 minutes moderate, 2 minutes uncomfortable, moderate plus, 2 minutes hard, 2 minutes very easy. All right, so we're going to start that in 3.5 minutes. So right here, I want us to build a little bit, knowing that our first 2 minutes is slightly easier than what we're doing now. So I can feel my heart rate coming up a little bit now, but I can still, as you can hear me speaking, I can still speak in sentences, and then I've just got to catch my breath a little bit. I can definitely feel it in my legs, in my quads, in my glutes. And I have to focus on relaxing my shoulders. I'm one for my shoulders rising up towards my ears if I start pushing hard. So I have to consciously relax those. But I'm starting to get warm. That's where we want to be when we start that main set. Great thing about doing a session like this, so we've got five different effort levels that we're going to be pedaling at. You really do get to know your body well, and it's a good one for making sure that when you're out on a ride, you don't end up pushing too hard, and if you are trying to race, you don't end up going too easy. You find that sweet spot really quickly, and you start to understand the telltale signs of going too hard or going too easy, and you become a little bit more efficient, and you build your fitness. So it's just a win-win. We build our fitness in a few ways. So we build that aerobic fitness, and we also build that tolerance to lactic acid. So we're working on pushing that anaerobic threshold up a little bit, or that lactate threshold up a little bit. And that's going to make us faster, stronger. All right, we've got a minute before we start our first one. We've got 3 lots of that main set. So the main set's going to take 30 minutes on a 10-minute cycle. And really, it's only 4 minutes that are really tough or going to really challenge us. The rest of it, we're just focusing on making sure we're hitting that effort level so that we can do the step up and step back down. And our body does start to get used to that. All right, let's make sure, if we haven't yet, have a drink. I think the best stage to win, the best way to win the Tour de France would have to be by a few millimeters. And if you're going to win a stage that's flat, one that's with a load of cobbles is a great way to do it. So, been racing, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years, Simon Clark. First stage win. So really good stuff. All right, let's drop it back a little bit now. Probably won't need to touch that resistance. Maybe just back off the cadence. Completely up to you. But we're just backing it off a little bit. So we were sitting at a 7. We're coming back to a 6.5. And so it's a little bit between being comfortable and being easy. So hopefully we bring our heart rate down just 10 beats a minute. Most of us, I think we should be sitting around that 80 or 90, 100, somewhere around there. Obviously depends on a lot of things, but you get the idea. And from here, we're going to go straight back to where we just were for that 5 minutes. That's that little increase for the second lot of 2 minutes. So they're all 2 minutes. We're 1 minute through the first one. This is pretty comfortable. I'm going to call the next one moderate. So we're comfortable here. We're going to go to moderate. I'm going to give you a trivia for today's session. I'm going to reveal the answers at the end. Trivia question today. I can't even remember the answers myself, but I'll try. Who are, because I'm working on, you know how I'm working on my semi-pro Facebook, Instagram page. I'm just doing all my research still. So I want to do a good job of it. And so I was looking at who are the most popular athletes in the world and who are the most popular people in the world. And I'm sure that some of you haven't even heard of these guys. All right, let's go to comfortable. So moderate. So up to a 7 out of 10. So this should feel like if you're climbing it, it's 1 or 2% climb. So yeah, who are the 3 most popular athletes in the world at the moment based on their social media following? So obviously some athletes, rightly so, don't partake in social media, but these days, even the ones that don't really want to be involved in social media need to, if they want to make the money that they are capable of. So try and get 1 out of the top 3. I don't think you're going to get number 3. It's going to be a tough get. Top 2, yeah, I think you'll get one of those at least. Let's have a go and I'll reveal the answers at the end if I remember. All right, we've got another 30 seconds here. And that's where we start to work. So we're going to uncomfortable. So you can hear my breathing. I'm in control. I can have a conversation, but every now and again, just got to reset. So I'm starting to accumulate a little bit of lactic acid, and then as we get uncomfortable, that's going to increase a bit. So my sentence will be shorter, etc. All right, here we go. Add it on. This is uncomfortable. We're here for 2 minutes. Remember, every time it gets a little bit hard and we're thinking I'm going to start rocking and rolling through the body, think about that technique. You should feel that discomfort in a lot of areas. Glutes, quads, a little bit on the heart and lungs. And then the rest of our body, it's just that effort that we can feel. Let's focus, getting it done well. 45 seconds here, and then we've got that hardest 2 minutes. And then the 2 minutes following is going to be our rest. All right, ready to go? 8 out of 10. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Right on that limit. Try and maintain that cadence you've been pushing all along. It's not an all-out sprint, but it is a conscious push. It should burn. Won't necessarily be totally out of breath, but you'll be feeling it in the legs. 30 down. One minute down. Let's keep pushing. 1 minute to go. Remember, it's easy after this. Thirty seconds. Ten. And back it off, easy. Let's bring it back to really, really easy. I was just thinking to myself, man, because strength session I did this week on Tuesday, and it was a bit more heavy on the legs. You might have heard of me talking about last week, it was pretty brutal. This week it's hard on the legs. And so when you get to that 40-hour mark, which is generally where your soreness from doing a heavy strength session will kick in. It's called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, normally at 40 hours. And for me, it's bang on nearly every time. Anyway, I was very, very sore in the hamstrings. But normally after about 50 hours, say the next day, I wake up and I feel really good. And I thought, gee, my hamstrings feel even worse now. What have I been doing? And then my memory came back to last night. Last night I serviced an e-bike, and they're really heavy, those. They won't go on your bike stand. So I probably spent an hour in a pretty solid hamstring stretch, just bending over this e-bike, making some adjustments. I think that's why I'm a bit tight in the hamstrings. And it's not something you think about at midnight when you're about to go to bed after servicing a bike, stretch your hamstrings. But I'll remember next time. You almost need a crane for those things to give them a proper service. All right, we are 20 seconds away from kicking in. We've already started round 2 because we start with, oh no, we don't. We're going to start with just a little increase in effort because we are back at a 6 out of 10. This is really easy. Hopefully that heart rate, probably don't expect it to be all the way back down to where we started, but it should be getting close. Okay, we're going to a 6.5 now. Let's add some resistance. It's easy, it's comfortable. But as I always say, it's not sitting on your couch comfortable, it's riding your bike comfortable. Might not be a bad idea to check your posture. I feel like I've crept forward a little bit on my seat. Let's make sure we get our sit bones back on the spongy bit of our seat. Nice and long through the spine. Check those feet, check those knees. And we're here for 2 minutes. And by the end of this 2 minutes, our heart rate should be feeling almost reset back to where it was before. Don't worry if it doesn't. Just means we've got a little bit of aerobic conditioning to work at, which will come. If you're feeling good already, great, well done. You've got another minute to reset. And we go again. So from here, we're going to a 7, to that moderate. It's going to go quick this session. We're already about halfway. This is a good time to think about who the most popular sports person in the world is. I'm just trying to think who I would guess if I hadn't Googled it. I should have written it down before I think I definitely would have gotten 1. I definitely would have got number 2. As I said, definitely 1 and 2 make sense. And number 1 is definitely a lot. They have got lots of followers. Well, they're great at their sport, but there's one of those key semi-pro elements that they have in their Instagram, and I'll tell you what it is at the end. All right, let's add some resistance. We're up to a 7 out of 10 now. This is moderate. It's like that little push to the bakery. So you'll hear in my voice that I'm still comfortable, but I'm a little bit labored. My legs are a little bit tired, and I have to work to maintain that good posture on the bike. Otherwise, it's comfortable. This is the one right before we go to uncomfortable and hard. So make sure that we're not easy anymore. And then our 4 minutes of solid work comes. All right, we're a minute down. So we've got a minute to go here. All right, 20 seconds. Ready to go uncomfortable. 2 minutes uncomfortable, 7.5 out of 10. 2 minutes hard, 8 out of 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Don't mind what your cadence is, as long as you're feeling that burn. $30 down. One down. 1 minute down. 1 minute to go here. Uncomfortable. $30 seconds. Uncomfortable. Followed by 2 minutes. All right, ready to work. We're at hard, right on threshold. Let's do it. Good technique. $30 down. Technique check. We are a minute to go now. Stay consistent, stay strong. $30 to go. Come on. Consistent and strong. Finish off. 20. 10. 2. 1. Great work. Let's recover. Easy. Two down, 1 to go. Let's recover now as best we can. We got 2 minutes easy. Then we start that main set one more time. It's quite interesting as well to look at the highest paid athletes in the world. I can tell you that the third most popular, according to social media followers, is the 65th, 66th highest paid athlete for 2022. And I don't think he's that worried, to be honest. I think all those guys in the top 100 are pretty happy. To give you an idea, the 100th, just trying to think who that was. Basketballer Klay Thompson, 100th, 32 million for the year. He's done okay. All he seems to do is he bought a boat, just takes it out in just out of San Francisco and hangs out on his boat. The rest of the time he trains. He's not spending much money either. Obviously the boat was a bit of an investment, but otherwise, guys, let's check where we're sitting on our seat. Once again, felt myself creeping forward. Make sure we're on those sit bones. Have a little wriggle if you need to. If you need to hop out of the saddle at any stage, please go ahead. All right, ready to start. Round 3, third and final round. All right, let's go. So we are riding easy, comfortable, whatever you want to call it. From here we go to moderate. From there we go to uncomfortable. From there we go to threshold. And that's us done. We're recovering. So we're easy plus. So just a little bit harder than what we were just doing. Yeah, it's quite funny that, because the guy who's number 3, I've given you away, it's a guy, the hardest one to get out of our list of 3. He plays a sport that is not a worldwide sport. And I've got to admit, about 10 years ago, this particular sport, 15 maybe, they didn't get paid a lot of money. And when they started getting paid loads and loads of money, I thought, how ridiculous. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, this guy is like number 66 in the world in terms of how much he's paid. In terms of how much he's paid, but he's the 3rd most popular athlete in the world. It really does hit home how ridiculously paid some of these other sports are. Or maybe he's underpaid. I guess it's all about how much money you can generate. All right, so we're 2 minutes away, should still be easy. I think that would just saw Vladimir Putin jump online just for a split second. So just being careful what I say. He's watching everyone. All right, ready to go? I don't know who that was. They must have just been checking what I was wearing. They were literally on for 5 seconds. All right, let's add it on. This is moderate. Mark and Kate in the studio with me, pushing hard. Definitely seeing the benefits for both of them. Early days, but Mark knocked over the Zhu plane from Samoa on the weekend with very little hassle. So stick with it. It's going to be all about being consistent. And this type of session will never feel easier. It's just going to mean that you're putting out more power. We should all feel exactly the same. Where are we at? Moderate? We moderate? 1 more minute? All right, 1 more minute. Let's get this 4 minutes done and we're home and hosed. "15 seconds, go straight to uncomfortable. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Consistent. Let's find that uncomfortable spot. Try and maintain it. $30 down. One minute to go. Come on, team. 3 minutes of work. Let's be consistent. Try and be efficient. Think about your technique, your alignment, using those glutes. Ten seconds. Ready to push for 2 minutes. Right on threshold. 2, 1. Let's go. Whoa. 30 down. Come on, minute and a half to go. This is it. This is us. Finish ourselves off. Try and make it consistent though. Try not to conk out with a minute to go or 30 seconds to go. Let's maintain the output for the whole 2 minutes. It's going to hurt. Stick with it. Keep that technique. 1 minute to go. We're all feeling the same. Don't think that you're aching somewhere someone else isn't. We're all feeling it. Let's push. 45 seconds. $30, come on. Don't think anyone's doing it easier than you. Just because I'm talking. Just learn to deal with that uncomfortable burn. 15 seconds to go. Come on, don't stop before time's up. Finish off. 10, 5, 2, 1, easy. Well done. Great stuff. Good news for me, the hamstrings let go. Where were you feeling it? I was feeling it in the right glute. Where I felt it the most. I was feeling it all over. But have a think about where that accumulation of lactic acid, where did it center around? And is that an area that you're a little bit tight that could do with a little bit more stretching, a little bit more conditioning? For me, it was right glute. And what do you know? It's my weaker glute. I'm happy I was using it, but definitely need to stretch a bit more, get onto that pigeon. All right, let's spin the legs nice and easy, however you want to do it. Let's readjust where we're sitting. Once again, I crept forward on my seat, as I do when I'm pushing hard. Get yourself comfortable. We're just ticking over. We're going to do some high cadence. Not for another minute and a half yet. So let's try and bring that heart rate down. Let's make sure we've got some resistance on. We don't want to be pushing against fresh air. We want to make sure we cool down properly, keep that blood flowing into those muscles to get rid of that little bit of lactic acid that we build up there in those 6 minutes of really uncomfortable stuff. Really good effort. All right, one more minute, nice and easy. All right, you two, you got one guess. Most popular sports person in the world. You've had all session to think about it. Just throw me a name. Nah, can't have a clue. Could be anything. I think it's gettable. It's gettable to get one of them anyway. That's most Instagram, Facebook followers combined. All right, what do you got? What do you got, Mark? Right, Kate, what do you got? I think she's going to pass. All right, I'll give them to you. So Mark was right. Cristiano Ronaldo is number one. He was the first person with over 400 million. I think he's got 450 million followers now. And he was the one that I was going to say has adopted some of the elements that you need to get loads of followers. And probably not his fault, but if you check out his Instagram, he's got a lot of shots of his six-pack with him laying back, showing off his body. So that's probably got him 100 million. All right, number two. Number two is, drumroll, Lionel Messi. So obviously they're both footballers. Football is a worldwide sport. Those guys are paid crazy amounts of money. And I guess that's why football being a worldwide sport, amount of people buying their jerseys, etc. Number three is a cricketer. He's number 66 in the world for highest paid. One of the highest paid athletes in the world that you would expect to be on this list or in the top three is LeBron James, and he's not. I think he's the highest in the world paid wise. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name right, this guy. I think his name's Virat, last name Kohli. He's a wicketkeeper captain of the Indian cricket team. So he's number three. He's just hit 400 million followers. So what's that? All Indian. Yeah, all Indian probably. they got a lot of people, so that's where he's lucking out. But he's only 66 in the world. I think he's doing all right. He's in the 50 million for the year category. So they're the top three. So I'm going to take some tips from those guys. I used to be a wicketkeeper. Can't play football to save myself. But maybe I can rig something up and pretend I can juggle a football. And then from there, the other tips that I'm going to take some tips from Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is the number 2 most popular person on social media. Guys, let's go high cadence just for about 30 seconds. So I'll take some tips off her. See if I can get my dad to change into a woman, just to make me more interesting. And Cristiano Ronaldo is number 1. Actually, no, he's number 3. Kylie Jenner's more popular. And one of the other ones that I'm going to take some tips from, can't even think of a name now. That's probably not a bad thing. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, nice and easy. We've got a minute to go. Just tick the legs over. Guys, don't forget to have a good stretch at the end. Glutes, for me, hamstrings, quads, most important. Get those calves loosened out again. Give the ankles a little bit of a roll so we don't get them locked out. And speaking of rolling, probably not a bad idea to give those quads a roll out, especially if you've done more than one ride for the week. If you start upping it to doing it 2 or 3, definitely going to get tight in the quads. So it's a good idea to make sure you're stretching and also give them a roll. Or a Theragun. If you've got a Theragun, it's quite good as well. Definitely a stretch. That's our number one priority. When we're warm, so as soon as we hop off the bike here now. I think that one went pretty quick. Don't forget to hydrate as well, especially as the weather gets a little bit hotter, which it's supposed to here anyway in the next week or so. Keep hydrating, keep those electrolytes in, and you'll be sound. All right, well done, team. That's 45 minutes. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up or down or across, or let us know how you're feeling if you get this session done. And we'll be back next week on the turbo. Otherwise, we might see you for core on a Monday, strength on a Tuesday, or conditioning on Wednesday. Take it easy, guys. I'm going to go back to bed. I wish.